So my first question to you is, how do we see, the future of entire plant process? What's the total capacity now, and what's the average growth that you see in Thailand itself for electricity?
In Thailand, for the PDP, the Power Development Plan, in the year 2012 to 2030. Right now, last year, total capacity of Thailand is 32,600 megawatts. Because
Okay.
EGAT is a major share, around 45%.
Okay.
And
So,
then in the next, until 2030s, the average growth of the capacity is around 5.6%.
Okay. okay. So how do you? What is the next decades in the 10 years? What is the capacity addition that is planned now?
We have the additional capacity until 2030 is around 55 gigawatts.
Okay, over the next 10 years.
Next 20 years.
Next 20 years. Okay.
2030s.
So fine. So how do you plan to have that, situation? That what is the share of renewable energy for means solar, wind in the whole plan?
The total renewable is around 30% in the year 2030s.
Okay. Now what's the percentage at this point?
Percentage at this point, at the end of 2012, is around 12%.
Okay, so that's a substantial increase of 18% on top of that. So how do you plan? What is the main thrust that Thailand looks at? Is it more solar, or you want a combination of solar and other renewables?
First of all, we have to follow the policy from the Ministry of Energies. They have set the target with the all renewables, such as solar, wind, and all the hydro in Thailand.
Okay. So what is the role of hydro? Because I see, like in India also, there is a lot of problem with the hydro development, both in terms of land acquisition and rehabilitation, because when hydro comes, there is resettlement if there are populations, and there are sometimes opposition from various, I would say, sometimes good environmentalists, but sometimes the wrong kind, So hydro faces a very big challenge, although it's a cheaper resource. So how do you see this being tackled in Thailand?
Most of the hydro right now, we have to develop the small hydro.
Okay, so what's the capacity by definition of small hydro in Thailand? In India, the definition is 25 megawatt and lower.
That's right, 30 megawatt and lower.
Lower, okay, very similar.
Yes.
Okay, so you are focusing on the small hydro plants.
That's right.
So that means more run of the river.
And also we also import the power from neighboring countries such as Laos, Myanmar.
Okay. So what's the quantum of import? What is the quantity of import at this point? In the share of imports?
Until 2019, we import around 55,000 megawatts. Oh, no, 5,500 megawatts.
5,500. Okay, fine. So will that increase in the coming years?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
It's up to the potential of the countries.
Right. So great. So do you want to add something that how you focus on getting I see young people here, how you want the young people to involve in the business of energy, because that's the biggest employer.
Yeah, sure. First of all, I think our young blood can be a lot of potential to gain experience and everything around energies.
Okay. So are there enough training schools and management schools and technology schools taking up the subject of energy in Thailand?
We should.
Okay.
For training of technical and management subject.
Right. So there is quite a few schools that can bring up a lot of new people, young people.
Young people.
Is there enough capacity?
Since start working in EGAT.
Okay, fine. So that's the future. Good. So any other view? Any other last parting word? You have something in your mind that you want to say?
Okay. In our plan, we try to make a few diversification for the energy security and for sustainable energies. So that's why we have more renewable in our plan.
Great. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. My first question is the total transmission infrastructure for transporting electricity or export of electricity and also import of electricity within Thailand. What's the size of this system? How big it is? How many kilometers?
33,000
Kilometer.
kilometer per circuit kilometer.
Great. Circuit 33,000 square circuit kilometers.
And
Okay, good.
There are 212 substations.
Okay, very good. So this will expand. I asked the same question. So what will happen 10 years from now What's the plan for expansion? That plan is there?
Now we have
reinforcement and expansion of consortium in northern region, eastern and southern
Okay.
part of Thailand.
Okay, so obvious question comes that now everywhere in the world, including I would say India, China, there is a big movement towards the smart grid access. Yeah, so because renewable energy comes into play, so integration of renewable with the smart grid becomes essential. So what's the plan in Thailand for integrating renewable energy and bringing smart grid access to the population and the system?
Now EGAT is setting EGAT Smart Grid roadmap, and we have 4 phases to make the EGAT master plan. And now Ministry of Energy setting master national master plan.
Okay.
And we also have pilot project in the north part of Thailand, Mae province, to test it
first pilot.
valuable in economy.
Okay.
And now we also to increase renewable energy the next 20 years.
Okay.
And we have in study transmission to serve the renewable energy by improving our system, such
Okay.
as in the northeastern of Thailand is very high potential.
Okay. So whenever you have the mixing of renewable energy, especially hydro, which is peak, and you have base load, I hope you know this subject, right? The base load comes from solar and other kind of access, but peak load comes from either gas or solar or hydro. So how do you plan to, because this is the key to entire integration on the smart grid. So are we accessing technology? Is Thailand able to attract the right technology companies in this area at a lower cost, I mean to say? How do you plan to do this?
We study to install capacity such as battery energy storage to serve the peak demand, and it will be more efficiency to use energy.
Okay, great. So you are open to technology alliances in the region? Are you open to have alliance? For example, there are a lot of Indian companies as well who may be looking at Thailand as an alliance, because we are getting a lower cost of technology now in India with world leadership. So are you ready to look at this kind of experience sharing and the ability to do project management?
Yes, we ready.
Is EGAT ready for alliances? Is it looking at this kind of country alliance and forward motion in the area of smart grid?
Now just prepare to
Okay.
go.
Okay. I give you a lead question. You know, India is on the 1200 kV now, because even China is at 1000 kV, you know, but we have moved to the 1200 kV with gas insulated substations and 1200 kV supply systems on the grid, on the transmission networks. So it's going to 1200 kV, you know. So that experience already with India for the last 2 years, you know, and there is a leadership with Power Grid in India. Power Grid is now getting the leadership in that area. So are you interested to work towards this kind of an alliance experience? Because that's the whole idea, you know, sharing the experience and also working together in an alliance. Like India imports electricity from Bhutan. So we import about 10 gigawatt. We want to import 10 gigawatt, but right now it's 2.5 gigawatt. So you have a similar situation. You are also importing 5.5 gigawatt, you know. And India also supplies electricity to Bangladesh. So I see very similar situation, although at a smaller end. But Thailand is already experimenting in a bigger way because you're importing more than us. So do you see experience sharing and possibility?
Yes, now in EGAT, our department furthermore incorporate with Lao PDR.
Okay.
In more we cooperate with China.
Okay,
Now
good.
we set working group to study facility about smart grid, HVDC, fact device,
Yeah.
and to maybe to purchase by because now government set MOU
Okay.
around 3,000 megawatt
Okay. So that's with Laos?
from China.
From China, okay. And how is your cooperation with Vietnam?
No, not yet.
Not yet,
And we
but
have
planning.
half working group in ASEAN
Okay.
to set ASEAN power grid.
Okay. And how is your cooperation going on with Burma, Myanmar?
Yes,
Because that's a new market, you know.
bilateral for purchase the power.
Okay, because Myanmar will become a very major consumer
Yeah.
shortly, maybe in the next 2 or 3 years. We in India see Myanmar as a very important potential market. So, do you see the same situation because they are your neighbors,
Yes, I think so.
Myanmar?
Next.
Potential market for you guys?
Yes. Where in terms of hydro
Okay.
and coal fire.
Okay. So, any other view for you, the young people? What do you think? What is the potential for young people to work in the power sector or the energy sector? What is scope, in your opinion?
To me, I think EGAT have to serve the peak in the future because demand is very growth in each year,
Okay.
and we have to plan to serve it on time to demand. And I think now we know it's renewable related to our grid, and you know it's very a lot of problem in fluctuate
Okay.
in the power generate. And
Okay.
now we hope to new grid by smart grid will be able to
Tackle it.
use in our grid.
Right. And what's your view? One last view?
For me, EGAT is the utility to find the source to serve the load, such as hydro, renewable, SPP, cogen, or IPP. Also, the EGAT have to set explanation, transmission, and enforcement to integrate them to serve the load well.
Lovely. Thank you, gentlemen. It was wonderful talking to you here.